Predicting failure. It's a case study in co-blogging. Unfortunately, Richard couldn't be here. He's at his daughter's graduation, but I get to have the honor. Thank you. So, a quick overview. It's basically what do we want to do, what is our setting, what's our activity, what does technology do for us, what do students do, what do graders do, what's our data, and some thoughts from our students. So what do we want to do? There's a tiny bit of, so everyone knows who this is? Hi, Calvin. He's in my opinion, the model student. He asks very creative questions. And if you're being boring as a teacher, he nods off or gets this like look. So he's an immediate like thermometer of how you're doing. So he's going to be helping me along the presentation a bit. So okay, another thing I'm going to do is I've noticed that I'm almost the only hat person in here. Thank you for joining me. But this is my grader hat or teacher hat, so I'm going to take it off when I'm explaining what the students are doing. Right, so what do we want to do? We want, basically as teachers, I'm looking at you and I'm seeing who's participating, and I'm making some inference and judgments on how you're doing as students while I'm doing that. And I want to that's my internal model of how you're doing as students. Now, we're moving this online. And online enables us to do various things, but it's kind of difficult for me to watch you when you're online and see how you're actually doing, what's your activity, how are you coming up with whatever it is you're doing on there, or are you just on Facebook or what? So what's our setting? We have a class in human-computer interaction. It's around 50 students, a mix of undergraduates and master's students. The course materials are various papers, book chapters, so it's a bit scattered. It's not like a course book, here's everything you need to know. So bringing it online is very helpful. We bring content creation into an online collaborative environment where students go in and draft their answers to tasks. They read other people's drafts and they revise as they're learning and taking in all the content and like fusion of whatever course material they read over. So a typical example of an assignment would be to go, I had this here. No. I now know the arrow keys work as well here. I had that. Okay, so a typical assignment for a student would be to use Snyderman's 8 golden rules, principles of design, and go about, create a scenario, and use a task for organizing your evaluation. Given the scenario and like task, walk through an application that you pick, a website of some sort, and check off the principle as you go through the scenario. Broke up a bit here. So this is the student task. He gets this assignment. He goes onto the blogosphere in the collaborative learning environment, writes everything down. So here I am as a student. Okay, so here I am as a student. So I get the assignment. I log on to my neat little co-blogging thing, and I start writing, like reading the content, writing everything down that I have. And I'm not quite sure what the teacher meant by what scenario, what was that again? So I go into the course materials, it doesn't explain it that well. So I'll see how other students are solving that part of the problem. Yeah, that's great. As I browse around a bit, I see some other draft from a student, and he has this nice layout and setup for how to do that. So yeah, I'll copy that, how he did it, and I'll do it the same way. It's very, I can explain what I think by learning how my peers did the same thing. And after I've done that, I get to the deadline, I turn it in, it's gone. I get assigned some tasks from the graders. Go and critique other posts from other students. That basically means I get some links, I click them, I make some comments about their contribution. Now there's an incentive to create quality content, because once the course is like gone 75% through all the material, you start the assignment, the final assignment, and that's like compilation of everything you've done before. So you have to go back on previous work and review and redo that in a comprehensive manner, like one big project. So back to being an author. We did this new, basically a basic co-blogging system. It has some nice features. You have a list of posts. You can hover over the title to get a small preview of what it actually contains. So you have some decision, you have some information about what it contains before you actually click in and view the entire thing with comments and all. So there's some pre-processing of what's going on. You get a notification if someone comments on your post, so it's giving you a bit more participation. A dynamic element of what's going on in there, and some basic like filtering. Nothing that really mattered for what we did and like in analysis here. This is like a quick screenshot of how it looked like. Basically, some posts, you have the task menu where you get like a number if you have tasks that are not completed, and access tutorial and notifications. And what we have here is basically this is a collaborative learning environment where we want now, as I said before, we want to track your activity, we want to track your participation in the knowledge community. And we know that participation is a risk factor in student outcomes. As I say, Emma, lack of participation is a risk factor for failure, and promoting participation is an effective method of improving student outcomes. So can we monitor participation, this is important, while and before they turn in their assignment? So this is small data, this is task specific. Here, before I turn in my assignment, I want to be able to tell the students, no, you're not really doing that well. You should really go on and read more material and catch up on what other people are doing. So, what do graders do? Okay, deadline comes up. We have to grade a lot of different posts. We have a team of graders. There are quite a few posts to grade, so I can't do it all alone. So that we randomly distribute posts to post grade. And it was basically a very simple scale. 0 for not completed, 1 for, it's not really good, not really what we wanted. 2 is basically, yeah, fine, that's in the ballpark. And 3 for exemplary work. And often, quite later on, we gave gold stars to some of the exemplary work, just so that people could go back later for the final assignment and actually more easily find the quality material. The tasks, the comments, the critiques are graded basically in the same way, but we didn't really worry about the exemplary work. It was basically not constructive or constructive work and good critique. So quite simple. What's our data here? Every time a user clicks in to read a blog post, we basically count that 1 participation. Goes into some other post, clicks to open it, not preview it or in any other view, just the view that you get when you're reading the entire blog post plus comments, another participation. Goes back and views the same one, another participation, even if it's the same blog post, we don't really care. might be, oh, wait, what? I want to get that again. We don't make any assumption of how closely they read the blog post. And what we want to do is, based on that, we want to track, we are monitoring process as determined by participation, and we want to identify those in danger of failing. Simple question. So, we see who writes and reads what and when. I got a bit ahead of me, but that's fine. So, we did want to ask the question, like, why read in the blogosphere versus, for example, just reading the course material, go online and write the assignment and just ignore everything. I explained that a bit before. In this case, the course material is kind of fragmented. It's not just one book, quality stuff, or so. It's kind of like disparate. Also, just versus going online, going on Wikipedia and finding some quality content there. Well, there is no guarantee that you find quality content on the internet that is exactly relevant to the tasks, specific task. That it takes skill to find and decipher relevant information just from the entire internet. Oh, right. So we think of students again. Sorry, here I am, student again. So what do I think of the blogosphere? When I'm browsing the blogosphere, I think I look, my view, I agree that I use it to explore how students present their posts. And we actually did a survey on this, and it was like 59% agreed or strongly agreed. And the important part here is that actually non-native speakers were there was like 76% agreed and strongly agreed that it helped them to see how other students presented their posts. It's like a 4.1 on a 5-point Likert scale. Lovely stuff, in my opinion. I also believe that I'm learning more when I'm in the blogosphere, and that was like a 69 and an 86% for non-native speakers. I browsed the blogosphere to see how other students are doing, like a part of the assignment. It was highly, it was like 80%, 85% non-native speakers agreed and highly agreed. I, as a student, I thought the blogosphere was a very valuable resource. Next. Aha. So, what is the relevant student participation? What we could do, we could track writes. We could track all the edits. Like a student comes in, writes a blog post, publishes it, goes back in, does some revising. But the problem with that is that we have no, they could just be doing it offline, and many students did. They just wrote it up in Word and copy-pasted. There wasn't really much write activity that we could track, and not reliably. However, with reads, that's a reliable activity in the blogosphere. They can't access that offline. They could save everything, but that's actually more effort than just going online and reading whatever they wanted. So that's the activity that matters. That's the reads, and there is the additional value of previewing whatever it is you're going to read. So we can assign some, students had some idea of what they were actually going to read. Right. Now, yay, we get some predictions. This is basically the p-values and the standardized betas, and this is basically telling us that initially, in our initial predictions, previous grades didn't really matter. So our model is previous grades and current participation. So how are you doing on the task that you currently have a deadline for? And I plot that against previous grades, and it just tells me that participation is highly as the top blue line, the standardized beta, and the bottom blue line is the p-value for participation. It's highly significant. I like that at least. But however, as you get more and more grades, that's the orange dotted line, the bottom one, kind of displays badly the colors. But it goes up. So the significance of previous grades is higher once you get more of them. Speaks for itself, really. Right. So we have a linear regression model. And we have, here I'm plotting average participation versus average grade for each student. So each of these dots is a student, all average grades, all participation. And we're simply asking who is at risk of failing, who's in danger of failing. And that's the yellow part down there. Okay? This is for everything. This is not task specific. This is just all the data that we had up until the point. So this gave us hope. Oh, that looks promising for a single task prediction. So we split up all of the tasks and plot just participation, log number of reads versus the grade they got for every single task. And it still remains positive, significant, and consistent for each and every task. And finally, we apply the model, which basically means all your previous grades, your current participation, and we make a grade prediction from that. And this is if we would have sent out notifications, if we would have turned on the light, what would it look like? So on average, 26% of students would have gotten a light on. Wait, you're in danger of failing. And 10% of students that got the alarm would have passed. So I got an alarm, but I still passed. Okay, well, that's fine. 6% are is our miss rate, which means that students failed but didn't get a light on. However, all of those except 2 can be explained. Right. So I explain it by saying that they forgot to do a critique. They turned it in late. It wasn't a full, complete assignment that they had. So the miss rate is really actually just 2 grades out of 240. For 240 grade predictions, only 2 grades were unexplained. I didn't turn on the light, but you still failed. So in my opinion, that's a pretty good percentage. Okay, so some concluding remarks. We're in this collaborative learning environment. We have access to the read-write data. Read data is the important part. It's the consistent part. We find out that tracking just low participation gives us the students that are in danger of failing. We do this automatically while they're working on their projects. So it's very important. This isn't after. This is before. This says that if you fail your task, you're in danger of failing the course. If you fail the course, you're in danger of failing at more courses, and you're in danger of failing in your studies, essentially. So we're trying to catch them at the task level before they start to fail at all. So what we have is a task progress mechanism of sorts. One more. I prepared for a tough question. So if anyone of you has a tough question, that would be awesome.
That's a gutsy challenge. Does anyone care to take that up?
Yes.
So, based on your prediction, you would expect that if you told or encouraged a student to participate more,
yes,
they would succeed. Have you done that experiment?
No. That's progress in work. This is just a short paper. This was also just the first half of that semester. And after this, tasks changed a bit, so there were different assignments that they had after this, so it wasn't the same activity really, like the final project. It's a bit bigger and was more offline.
Yeah, I just want to continue with that. You said of the people who got the alerts, 90% of them actually failed.
No, what? Huh?
Right?
What?
Yeah, because you said missing that there. Like, oh, sorry.
0.83, like two grades, 2 people didn't get notified, well, wouldn't have gotten notified, and still failed.
But I meant you have the alarm rate and then you have the false alarm. Of the people who got the alarms, how many of them passed?
So 26% get an alarm
Yes.
out of all the class. 10%, not of those, but of the entire class, are actually people that got an alarm but didn't fail. So like 15% are.
Okay, but isn't it
Are
sort of
getting a low
false,
grade.
because that sort of says that your alarm was effective. They got the alarm and they passed.
No, we didn't give the alarm. If we'd given the alarm, that would have biased the grade. I'd hope they would get a higher grade, and that would have been confusing for the data. Right.
One last question, or I would suggest that we take it outside once the, thank you very much.